Alright, today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing integers. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the rules, and then we're going to try lots of problems. So here's the rule for multiplying integers. First, we multiply the numbers like they don't have a negative sign. Then we count the number of negative signs. If there's an even number of negative signs, then the answer is positive. An even number of negative signs equals a positive number. If there's an odd number of negative sign, the answer is negative. So if you look at the key kind of points right here, even number gives me a positive. An odd number gives me a negative answer. So let's just try some examples here. So the first step is to always multiply the numbers like there aren't any negative signs. So we go 3 times 4, and that's equal to 12. Then we count the number of negative signs. We just have one negative sign right here, so that's an odd number. 1 is odd, and that means my answer is negative. Here, 5 times 8, that's 40. Count the number of negative signs. That's 1, 2. 2 is an even number, so my answer is positive. Here, let's multiply. You can even do this with 3 numbers. You can multiply 3 numbers. So we go 4 times 1, that's 4, times 2, that is 8. So 8, and I count the number of negative signs. 1, 2. That's an even number, so my answer is positive. 7 times 8 is 56. Times 1, that's still 56. And I count the number of negative signs. 1, 2, 3. 3 is an odd number, so my answer is negative. Now we're going to talk about division, but here is the good news, alright? The good news is that division works the same way. Thank you for the applause. No need necessary. Alright, so division works the same way. Here's the rules. We divide the numbers like they don't have negative signs, and then count the number of negative signs. If there's an even number of negative signs, we still get a positive answer. If there's an odd number of negative signs, we get a negative answer. So let's try these. 40 divided by 4. 40 divided by 4 is 10. Then we count the number of negative signs. So we go 1 negative sign. That's 1's an odd number, and so my answer is negative. 64 divided by 8. That is 8. Count the number of negative signs. 1, 2. That's a even number, so my answer is positive. 121 divided by 11. That is 11. We have 1 negative sign. That's odd, so my answer is negative. 90 divided by 6. We go 90 divided by 6. That's 1. Drop your 0. 5. So you get 15. I have 1 negative sign. That's an odd number, so my answer is negative. Alright, so you can see that it works exactly the same way as multiply. Last thing, alright, this is just a little way of thinking about it. A positive times a positive. How many negative signs do we have? We don't have any, 0. So my answer is going to be positive. A negative times a positive. We have 1 negative sign, so my answer is negative. A negative times a negative. We have 2 negative signs. That's an even number, so my answer is positive. How about a positive times a negative? We have 1 negative sign. That's an odd number, so the answer is negative. How about a negative times a positive? We have 2 negative signs, so that means my answer is positive. Just another way of thinking about it there. You can use that as a reference if you need to. Alright, well that's all I got. If you have any questions, feel free to ask tomorrow. Have a good evening.